The latest Windows subsystem Linux distribution is actually pretty cool. So I'm going to show the WSL today. Because recently I'm actually just started using it, I find it is actually pretty powerful. So first of all, before WSL2, actually it's actually quite troublesome actually to install WSL. But nowadays actually with WSL2, first off, it's actually there's a significant difference between WSL and also WSL2. So the previous version for WSL is actually what Microsoft has done is actually is using translation. So so basically between the WSL, the Linux distribution distro, and also the Windows is actually using translation, basically translating those APIs calls. But for WSL2, what they have done is actually they're actually building a new kernel, and also on top of that kernel is actually Microsoft's distribution. For example, for Ubuntu is actually something built by Microsoft. So and also according to Microsoft, the speed is actually much faster now, with WSL2. I do find it is actually quite powerful and also quite useful. So we'll first talk about how to install it and also some of the basic setup, how we can use this one for day-to-day development experience. So for WSL2, it actually can be just installed by this command. This command somehow doesn't work for me. So what I really need to do is actually I still need to tell what's really the distro I'm interested. So but I think if you don't have WSL installed before, it probably just work out for you with this command. If you just run this, somehow it doesn't work, then what you can do is basically there's a distro you can provide. So this is how I install it. Then after that, you can actually tell, you can basically tell the version for the WSL. So before it's actually if you have the using WSL1 before, so the version become it was 1. So if you want to change it, actually you can there's a command for that as well, which is set version. Then you can type, you can basically specify the distro, then tell the version. Vice versa, you can downgrade it. So from version 1.2 to version 1 as well. But version 2 is actually recommended. I think that's probably it. So I do actually encounter some hiccups actually when I'm trying to install WSL2 because I was using WSL1 before. And then in the end, what I need to do is actually I really need to remove all the old distro. I got an old Ubuntu version 1 before. When I'm actually trying to upgrade it, it actually doesn't work out. So I just remove it and also trying to reinstall. Then things working. So instead of actually doing this set version 2, I'm actually just reinstall it. So with that will give kind of the preliminary or basic things with the distro. There are actually a few hiccups after that because one thing is it's actually quite common case we want to share, for example, between WSL and also Windows. So this is actually a quite common thing, and also it will be very useful as well. So by default, at least for me, when I'm actually having this distro installed, this thing actually doesn't work out. This is actually the way basically to access the distro, but unfortunately in the beginning it's actually not working out. Now it's being resolved. So the solution is, and also vice versa. So if you want to basically access the Ubuntu, for example, yeah. So this is actually one way, which is actually accessing the Ubuntu auto Windows. Then vice versa, if you want to just run the command from the distro, it can actually help you to do that as well. So this basically just go to the same path. So yeah, directly go to the path. So this, I think this is probably the current situation. But if people actually encountering issue regarding this thing, so I think in the beginning I'm actually not able to do it. So in the end, what I need to do is I actually need to. So I'm checking about this registry. So basically, the P9 and P is missing. So what now I'm doing is actually I need to edit these two registry. Basically, prepending this P9 and P there. So once that, it's actually working. So I think that's so. With that, I'm actually able to basically sharing files between Windows and also subsystems. there are some other hiccups there. For example, regarding firewalls, so you need to open the firewall, and also for IntelliJ, basically you need to add the trusted location. So with those hiccups, actually I finally managed actually able to run the application. So you can see the application actually running out of Ubuntu distro. So it's actually in projects demo. So so this is actually the location. So if we, for example, if we go to Java, I think right now I have example. Okay, so so I have one class here, demo application. So this is actually downloaded from the Spring initializer. So what this thing will do is it will actually start a very simple Spring Boot application. I have another application already running there, so I'm actually changing the port to 8282. So this the coolness. So I think just now we talk about file sharing basically between Windows and also between Linux. So actually back into the file sharing part a little bit. So just quickly to show it. So if let's see I have this tst here. Yeah, if I just open that file here, actually I will be able to basically yeah, I will see it's basically the test there. So if I want to, for example, edit test there. Okay, so if I want to edit it, then basically vice versa. So just now I created this one out of Windows, then I can see it actually from the Linux distro. Then if I edit, modify it from the distro, so if I'm trying to open it, yeah, basically I will see the changes as well. So it's basically able to communicate through the file system. Then another thing I want to show now with IntelliJ here. So IntelliJ actually started application on port 8082. So the cool thing is, so if I actually just run a curl, so 8082. Yeah, because actually I don't have any application now. I don't have any index page now. So it's actually just showing pass not found. So that's the thing. So this thing is working because this project is actually out of this Ubuntu. So if I just do a curl here, definitely it's going to work. But the interesting part about it is, so even out of Windows, so if I want to do it, not this one, I'm actually able to see it as well. So this is actually basically the same response from here. Actually, probably I can show something. So let's see, maybe. I will just create. I just create a simple class probably here. So this is WSL2. Okay, so I just create one simple controller, so probably it will be easier to know. So let's see. Okay, now started. So if we go here, yeah. So basically, we will be able to see which is actually response out of this IntelliJ application or Java application on top of WSL2. So, so let's see the same thing out of here. So the URL working out of WSL, out of Ubuntu is actually expected because it's actually the process is actually running here. So demo application. So this application is running out of here. So it's actually basically opening this port A0, A2. Then if I'm actually choose this port, talking to this application, this thing returns the response. That's totally expected. But the coolness is out of Windows. So if I'm actually on this Windows box, actually I don't need to do any. There's no nothing more than that needed. So okay, somehow this. Okay, so it's missing the S here. But the interesting here is even out of Windows is actually totally fine. So I think that this is actually pretty cool. So basically, this actually set up a stage, which is there are really one operating system here. So I think in the old days, actually people need to install virtual machines. For example, maybe Windows on top of Mac, then maybe Ubuntu on top of Windows, those kind of things. They actually need to run it parallelly. But nowadays with WSL, what's really happening is it's not only running concurrently, but at the same time actually there is a path actually to open it, so people actually can sharing between Windows and also Ubuntu. So as such, this is actually combining two powerful things. So Windows for the GUI part, so also different GUIs, but also command lines actually for the Ubuntu and also for any other Linux distribution. So this is actually for this thing, and also and also I talk about I'm actually got Docker running here as well. So let's see, I got Docker running NGX here. So there are actually some hiccups with WSL setup as well. So what really needed is not only WSL2 based engine, but in the resources, at least for my case, I need to enable integration. But what's more, I still need to enable this specific for Ubuntu, even though I only have the one distro. So even though I only have one, but I still need to integrate. I think last time when I first installed, actually I reinstalled Docker. So when I first have Docker, I don't need to do it, but somehow the next time I need to. So anyway, that's the case. So with that, so yeah, the same thing here. So if I want to, this is opening on A0 port for NGX. So basically, if I curl it, what I get is actually basically welcome NGX. Then same thing if I come here, E0 NGX. So this is pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's probably this piece.